Namaskaram. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Welcome to yet another episode of Vedi. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. A guru is someone who shows you a light in your life. It is my absolute honor to present to you my Guru Srimati Pallavi Krishnan. She has been a mentor, a guide, and waved a path for me to look at and gave me a new sense of direction in learning Mohiniyattam. Srimati Pallavi Krishnan started off her journey in dance from Shantiniketan Vishwa Bharati University with Kathakali under the guidance of Kalamandalam Shankaranarayanan. Along with that, she also learned Bharatanatyam and Mohiniyattam from her guru Kalamandalam Shankaranarayanan as a private student. She later went on to train in Mohiniyattam under the guidance of Kalamandalam Leelama teacher in Kerala Kalamandalam. Her thirst for Mohiniyattam led her to Guru Bharati Shivaji and finally under Kalamandalam Sugandhi teacher. She has been fortunate to be under the guidance of late Kamalam Narayana Panikkar, who helped her to enrich her knowledge and understand the regional flavors of Mohiniyattam. She is the most sought after Mohiniyattam performer and trendsetter for many young dancers in Mohiniyattam. Her uncompromising teaching has attracted many students all over the globe. She has won many awards and accolades, including the prestigious Sangeet Natak Academy Kerala State Award for Mohiniyattam. We present to you Guru Pallavi Krishnan.
Namaskaram. I'm Pallavi Krishnan. I'll be presenting an Ashtapadi from Jayadeva's Gita Govindam. Kathita Samayapi Hari Ahaha Nayayo Vanam. Krishna or Hari hasn't arrived in the forest at the given time and place. In this Ashtapadi, Radha is a Vipralabdha A Vipralabdha is the one who is cheated by her beloved. In this Ashtapadi, Radha is informed by her beloved Krishna through her Sakhi that he would come in the forest at the given time and place to meet her. Radha reaches in the forest in spite of her fear in the night and waits for Krishna. But after waiting for a long time, Krishna doesn't turn up. Radha feels dejected and cheated by both her friend and her beloved Krishna. This Ashtapadi is composed in the Ragam Madhuvanti and set to Mr. Chaputalam.
Namaskaram, welcome to Vedi. Today we have one of the eminent dancers in Mohiniyattam, Guru Pallavi Krishnan. She is my guru, an absolute honor and happiness for me to present my teacher on Vedi. Welcome, Pallavi teacher.
Hi, Rubina. Thank you for having me here. I really appreciate your efforts to popularize the depth of Mohiniyattam in various levels through this initiative. Truly appreciable, and you are a very talented and dedicated student, and I'm really happy to have you as my student.
Thank you, teacher. Thank you for giving me the confidence. It's indeed an honor for me to have you with me. I did not think that I will be able to do something like this, and having you here, I will not be able to express in words how happy I am to do the series with you. You have been doing Mohiniyattam for more than 2 decades, close to 3 decades now, and you have done a lot of work, choreographies, teaching, research, reading up, lecture demonstrations, and everything that you can do with the art form. What is Mohiniyattam to you?
I have dedicated myself to Mohiniyattam, and Mohiniyattam is my life today. I have been practicing Mohiniyattam for nearly 30 years now, and I have reached at a point of my life where I cannot imagine my life without Mohiniyattam. So, yes, Mohiniyattam is my life.
Absolutely. It's total bliss, I should say. You started performing Mohiniyattam at a time when no one actually took up Mohiniyattam seriously, and that too from West Bengal. You were the first one who came from West Bengal to Kerala Kalamandalam and started learning Mohiniyattam. That is after O Kalyani Amma in 1936. This has got a very historical relevance. That is, the great poet Rabindranath Tagore and the great poet Vallathol actually had visualized something like this to have a connect between Shantiniketan and Kerala Kalamandalam. And you have made this possible. You are a sole connect between the two institutions. And when you moved to Kerala Kalamandalam and you set up your school here in Kerala. You have made West Bengal proud because you hail from there. You came to Kerala, you established the Lasya Academy, you made Kerala proud, and you have almost reached a position where you are one of the leading exponents in Mohiniyattam. How would you explain that, Pallavi teacher?
So, to answer this question, I have to speak a little bit about my initial training in dance. My father was an engineer and my mother a homemaker. A major part of my childhood was spent in a place called Durgapur in West Bengal. Since my father was working in the thermal power station, so we lived in a place which was a bit outskirts from the main city. So I did not have there in that place. I did not have much opportunity to learn dance or to see many dance performances or music concerts. But fortunately, there was a teacher who used to come from the main city to our place once in a week or once in 2 weeks, and he taught Kathak. So that's how I also joined in his school and I started learning Kathak, and that was my uh, initial formal training, dance training started with Kathak. As I grew up, my passion for dance also increased. And after my 12th grade, I wanted to join for a dance graduation course. And I told my father about it. But my father was very particular that I should complete my academic graduation first, and then I can take up dance as a profession or a full time dancing. So I completed my graduation in bioscience. And after that, I joined Shantiniketan for another graduation course, and that was in dance. So when I joined Shanti Niketan, Vishwa Bharati University, founded by the great poet Rabindranath Tagore. When I joined there were only two dance forms for formal graduation course, Kathakali and Manipuri. I took Kathakali as my main subject and Manipuri as my subsidiary subject. I learned Rabindra Sangeet also from Shantiniketan. After 4 years graduation course, I was not very much interested to continue there for my post-graduation course. And there my guru was Kalamandalam Shankar Narayanan, who taught me Kathakali. And also I learned Bharatanatyam and Mohiniyattam from him as his private student. Then I told my guru that about my wish that I wanted to go to South India to learn to do higher studies in dance, and also I wanted to pursue my career as a dancer. So he suggested me that I should go to Kerala Kalamandalam so that I can learn three dance forms, Mohiniyattam, Bharatanatyam and Kuchipudi simultaneously. Then I told my parents about all these discussions and my wish. Initially, they were reluctant because in those days it was not very common for young girls going that far to pursue dance as a career. And there were a lot of problems because Kerala is very far from West Bengal. Culture is different, language is different, food is different. We did not have any connection, any relative in Kerala. Totally a new place. So they were actually afraid of sending me alone to such a place, that far off place. But moreover, the commutation was a big problem because there were no direct flight from Kerala to Calcutta, and also there was only one train that was also once direct train from Kerala to Calcutta. That was also only once in a week. So much of problems were there in front of me, but I was so passionate, and I believe that your passion can overcome any kind of hardships. My my guru came to my home and convinced my parents, and then with my guru, I landed up in Kerala in 1992. And as you said, yes, O Kalyani Amma, who was the first teacher in Kerala Kalamandalam, and she was invited by Rabindranath Tagore to Shantiniketan in 1936 to teach Mohiniyattam. Because Rabindranath Tagore, when he visited Kerala, he was fascinated by Mohiniyattam. So then O Kalyanyamma went there, and she stayed there for 2 years, and then because of her ill health, she came back to Kerala. After that, after nearly 40 years, I came from Shantiniketan to Kerala in search of Mohiniyattam. And till today, I am the sole connector between these two coveted universities, that is Kerala Kalamandalam and Shantiniketan. And I feel happy and contented that to some extent I could fulfill the dreams of these two great poets, Mahakavi Ballatol and the great poet Rabindranath Tagore. And that's how my journey from Shantiniketan, my journey of Mohiniyattam from Shantiniketan, continued through Kalamandalam, and till today it is continuing. When I came to Kerala Kalamandalam, many practitioners were there. Actually, it was not very popular, not very common in West Bengal. I did not see any Mohiniyattam dancer in proper Mohiniyattam professional dancer in West Bengal at that time.
Absolutely, a very, very long journey. It is not an easy journey. Well, it is a journey with lot of dedication, hard work, and passion that has actually brought you so far.
Yes, yes.
Wonderful, Kalishiji. To reach your goal, other than dedicated talent and commitment, what else do you think you should follow? You were in Kerala Kalamandalam. I'm sure you will be able to share with this current generation what is the kind of things you need to follow to reach your goal.
Yeah. For anyone in any profession to achieve your goal, you should be talented. You should have talent. You should be dedicated. You should be committed. You should be a hardworking person. And apart from all these elements, you should have one very major aspect, that is discipline in life. Discipline is a major factor to achieve your goal or to become successful. My father was very strict and we had a very disciplined childhood. My training in dance was from institutions. I stayed in the hostels in Shantiniketan and also in Kalamandalam. So that discipline was already there. We had very strict rules and regulations in both the places. But still, in Shantiniketan, we had more freedom. We were like free birds. But when I came into Kalamandalam, I felt like caged. Owing to our circumscribed life, a legion of rules and restrictions, initially I felt uncomfortable. But very soon I realized that these rules and restrictions actually aided me to focus only on dance and nothing else. So the schedule in Kalamandalam was quite rigorous. Early morning at 4 o'clock we had to get up. 5 to 6 we had Pattu Sadhakam, that is music practice. Then we had a coffee break, short coffee break. Then 6:30 to 7:30 we had May Sadhakam, that is body exercise. Then we had a shower and breakfast break. For breakfast, every day we used to have kanyi and cherupayar, in Malayalam we say, that is porridge and sprouted beans fry and with pickles, because it gives energy to dance. 9 to 11 we had practical class. 11 to 12 we had literature, Sahityam class. Then we had lunch break. 3 to 5 again we had practical class. 6 to 6:30 prayer. 7 to 8 again practice. Then dinner. 9 to 10 we had Kanna Sadhakam, which is practice of eye movements, neck movements, mudra, every day. And then 10 o'clock we had to go to bed, switch off lights. Our security guard used to come and check whether all the lights are off in all the rooms or we are only talking and all. We had to follow this rule very, very strictly. Our teachers were very strict, at the same time quite affectionate. They used to give sudden visit to our rooms to see whether our rooms are properly organized and all. So this kind of approach, okay, actually helped us to, not only me, all of us, whoever have learned in Kerala Kalamandalam, helped all of us to shape our personal as well as professional life. So I feel discipline is very, very important. You learn time management. And that is the key factor to reach to your goal.
Wonderful, Pallavi. And we can see the kind of growth that you have seen with the kind of discipline, with the kind of dedication you have shown. It takes you a very long way. It is indeed a very systematic approach to what you want.
Systematic approach. Yeah. Yeah.
There are various styles in Mohiniyattam, different banis that we have seen. And in your case, you have learned from Guru Bharati Shivaji in the Sopanam Shaili, and you have also learned from Kerala Kalamandalam. How do you look at all these styles, and what is the way you look at it?
So Carnatic style and Sopanam style. Since I have learned both the style thoroughly in Kalamandalam, I have learned Carnatic style of Mohiniyattam, and with Bharati Shivaji, Guru Bharati Shivaji, I have learned the Sopanam style of Mohiniyattam. So I know the nuances of these two systems. Carnatic style of singing has its own gamakas, which are sharp gamakas. Sopanam style of singing has got wavy gamakas. They are called Andolika gamaka. So the Carnatic style has got its 7 talas, saptatalas: Dhruva, Madhya, Rupaka, Jampa, Tripuda, Ada, and Eka. And 5 jatis: Tisra 3, Chaturasra 4, Khanda 5, then Misra 7, and Sankirnam 9. Okay, but in Sopanam there is no such jati system. Carnatic Tala, we have the counting system, we have first Laghu, Dhrutam, and Anudrutam. In Sopanam Tala system, we have Shashabdam and Ashabdam. In Carnatic Talam, how do you count, how do you show Laghu? Now, we have 5 jati, 7 tala. You can apply all these 5 jatis in each tala. You take Tripuda tala, you can apply all these 5 jatis. You take Madhya tala, you can apply all 5 jatis. So how many total talas you have in Carnatic system? You have got 7 tala into 5 jati, 35. Total 35 talas in Carnatic system. Okay. Here we have talas, like we don't go with the jatis. We have Rupam 3, we have Karika 4, we have Panchari 5, we have Mudiyadanda 7, we have Chambada 8, Chemba 10, Kundanachi 12, Adanda 14, it goes on. So many talas in Sopanam. For example, how do you do Laghu? So Laghu depends on, Laghu is 1 clap and fingers, counting of your fingers. So Laghu depends on which jati you are doing. If you are doing Chaturasra jati, Laghu should be counted as 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And Dhrutam is always 1 clap and 1 off. And Anudrutam is only 1 clap. So if you take the example of Chaturasra Jati Tripuda Talam, which is known as Adi Talam. Adi Talam is actually Chaturasra Jati Tripuda Talam. So what is the sign of each talam has sign? What is the sign of Tripuda Talam? 1, 0, 0. 1 is Laghu, 0 is Dhrutam, 0 is Dhrutam. So Chaturasra Jati, that means 1 should be counted as 4. Ta, ka, dhi, mi, ta, ka, dhi, mi. Chaturasra Jati, Tripuda Talam, that is known as Adi Talam. 8 beat, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Similarly, you have 8 beat tala in Sopanam, that is Chembada. Chembada can be, and here you say only, you don't say Laghu Dhrutamanu, you say Sashabdam and Ashabdam. So for Chembada, we have 2 ways we can do Chembada. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That means 3 Shashabdam, 1 Ashabdam, 3 Shashabdam, 1 Ashabdam, or 7 Shashabdam, 1 Ashabdam. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Tat, tat, dhim, tat, tat, dhim, or tat, tat, dhim, tat, tat, dhim. So they are very interesting. You have Rupaka Talam. Rupagatalam, 6 beat. Okay, 0, 1. So taka, taka, dhimi, chaturasra jati, because you are counting 4. 6 beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Similarly, in Sopanam, we have Rupam, 6 beat. Tadim, tadim. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Or you can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like that. So you have Mr. Chapu, here you have Muriadanda. So the comparison very different. Only thing is that the chand is different. Here the divisions, suppose you are taking though the compositions which are already composed, talas and ragas are composed like Swaditirnal composition, all ragas and talas are already set, you cannot do anything. But if you are taking a poetry or a new composition where you want to do the music composition by yourself, or your musician or whoever your composer is doing, you want to give suggestion, then it is your capability or your music composer's capability to choose a talam which suits actually the lyric. You should not take abruptly some talam which, if you set the lyric in that talam, the meaning might change, because the division will come in abrupt way, so the whole meaning will change. So when you choose a tala for any composition, when you are composing or choreographing something, you have to take the tala very, very carefully, so that the essence of that poetry or that lyric should not get destroyed, or should not be, what do I say, should not get disturbed. Similarly, when you take Sopanam, you you choose talam in such a way that whatever composition you are setting in Sopanatala, that essence of the essence of the lyric should not get disturbed by the because of the using of the tala. So that is very, very important for a dancer and a composer to know. So this is the main difference between Sopanam and Tala, and Sopanam system and Carnatic system. When you hear of Sopanam ragas are very specific: Padi, Samanta Malahari, then you have Poranir, you have Erikula Kamudiri, beautiful ragas. And Carnatic ragas, so I cannot explain, vast.
Thank you, teacher. It is you simplified the whole thing with it's such a short time. You have simplified the whole classification to us. The other thing is, I noticed that in your work you have a lot of women-centric characters. You have done Kunti as a production in Mohiniyattam. You have Pingala. Then I have seen Shalabanjika. A lot of importance is given to women in your productions. And what makes you feel, or what makes you choose those kind of topics, and how do you relate to that?
I personally feel dance is not all about entertainment or your enjoyment. You have a responsibility as an artist to the society. And as a dancer, I feel that I take women issues, because being a woman, I feel that I can take up the challenges till today women are facing in our society. I can convey the message to the audience or to the society through my art, which is through my medium, which is dance and which is Mohiniyattam. So that is why I take women-centric, I do a lot of women-centric choreographies. And interestingly, I pick up the women character from epics mostly, and I relate the character or incidents to the women of today's society. And interestingly, the same kind of challenges till today still women are facing. You take the example of Kunti. Kunti suffered because she became an unwed mother. Karna was her first son, and she had to abandon Karna only because to fearing the social stigma. Till today, you see women abandon their child if they become unwed mother. They cannot accept, society will not accept. So it is still there. You take the example of Ahalya. Ahalya was a innocent wife, uh, had a happily living happily with her husband Sage Gautama. Indra had an eye on her and cheated her, and without listening to her any explanation, her husband cursed her, punished her, and she became turned into a stone. And she was lying in the forest for ages until Rama came and touched the stone and she got back her form. What was her fault? Nothing. She was innocent, but she had to go through all these punishments and these agonies and everything. Till today, in society, anything happens, first women are blamed. Till today, in our society, women are tortured, they are suspected, they are not given freedom to live their own life, they are tried. So they they have no freedom, like Ahalya. So in today's society, we can see lots of Ahalyas. So that's why I relate the epic characters with the women of today's society. That is why I take and I always do choreography uh, which has got some relevance, and I always try to give some kind of message to the society through my choreography. I don't do any choreography just for the sake of doing choreography. I always do choreography with a purpose.
Wonderful, teacher. It is a great message through Mohiniyattam that you are able to convey to the society, and especially the message when it comes in the form of Stri Shakti. It is indeed something that will reach the audiences.
Yeah, yeah. Pingala is my choreography, which is also very beautiful. It's a story of a courtesan and the three phases of her life. The early phase when a courtesan is thinking young, she thinks that I can conquer the world with my beauty. Then middle age, when you are losing your beauty and um, getting frustrated, and at the old age, you have no one else other than God, and you refuge at the feet of yourself, at the feet of God, and that is, you become spiritual. So that three phase of life a courtesan goes through.
Thank you, teacher. Thank you for explaining, and I'm sure we'll get to see Pingala live on stage sometime soon. My next question is, why are classical dance forms so stylized? To what extent can we adapt Lokadharmi or natural acting in classical dance?
Hmm. All the classical Indian classical dance forms are Natyadharmi, stylized. Uh, Bharata Muni in his Natya Shastra, he gives the instruction that when a dancer or actor enacts a character or enacts an emotion, the actor should not transform into the character, or should not get into the character or get into the emotion the dancer or actor is portraying. The actor should learn to detach from the character he or she is portraying. That is why if you get into the character and if you start um, experiencing the emotion that actually you are emoting on the stage, then you become an aswadaka or rasika, and you are no more an actor. That is the instruction Bharata Muni has given in his Natya Shastra. That is why Indian classical dance forms are stylized. So when you do an action in a stylized manner, you are unlikely to get into the character. But these are all in theory. It takes a lot of exercise, mental exercise to actually do it. And you need a lot of practice. So the moment on the stage, the moment you feel that you feel that you are slipping off, or you are slipping off, or you're getting into the character, you just remember the shloka, and then you try to detach from yourself from the character. uh, so that is why when we, like, if you are doing a realistic action, suppose come, you say, but in dance we will say come. Okay, in realistic way you say go, in dance you will say go, or in elaborate way go. So in this stylized form, these stylized movements always will remind you that you are only the actor and not the character. You are only emoting or enacting the character. Kathakali, they have huge costume, huge headgear and all. It is not only because they are portraying a character which is larger than life. Also, this is, the actor is constantly reminded that you are only enacting the character and you are not the real character. Kodiyattam, they have Vachika Vinaya. For us, Vachika is not through in the form of real dialogue. No, in form of music and poetry. And Kodiyattam, see, Kodiyattam, they do their own Vachika Vinaya. The actor only does the Vachika Vinaya, and their rendition is so different. Their voice modulation is so different, so that they don't speak like a normal speaking. So that also they are always reminded that it is a stylized form, and you are enacting a character. You are not actually. You should not get into the character. Okay, but in cinema it is different. Cinema is realistic acting, because in cinema you become the character for a very short span, like 5 minutes to 10 minutes. You act as a character, you get into the character, then there is a cut, then you come back to your real person, and then again the light, camera, everything is set again. For 10 minutes you are becoming the character, so you are not continuing the character. But if you are portraying a character, if you're doing a character for half an hour, 45 minutes on the stage, or a drama for 2 hours and all, continuously you are in the character for a long time, and there is every chance that you get into the character. There is no cut. It's a continuous process, continuous performance. So that is why it is highly stylized. It is highly stylized. That is my opinion, my observation.
Very beautiful, teacher. For any artist, family support is a very big thing. For us to reach our goal, you need a family, and women, they need, when they are married, they go into another family, and going further also, it family plays a pivotal role in having any kind of association with any art form. By God's grace, you're blessed into a family who appreciated arts, and also into a family, married into a family where you are welcomed, and people support you for your kind of achievements. How do you see this, Pallavi Chechi, and what is the kind of family support you got from all corners?
My parents were very supportive. Uh, you can see that they allowed me to come all the way to Kerala, just to fulfill my dreams. And fortunately, I got married into a family who are also all the family members are very supportive, very encouraging, and they appreciate whatever I do. My husband is an art historian. He has written books on, his one book is very popular, that is on Kathakali. And now he has finished one book on Teyyam, now in process of writing a book on Kudiyattam. So he understands my passion. Being a writer himself, he understands the passion that I have. And as I told you that I am not from an artist family, and I don't have any artistic background. I have not seen in my childhood an artist's life, artist struggle. I was not aware of that, all those things. So initially, I really did not know how to proceed, how to step forward. At that time, my husband guided me, and that's how I could go forward. And slowly, I learned to take care of myself, and I just grew up. So that kind of for every artist, for any field, not only art, you in any field, to achieve as something or to become successful, you need a supportive family, your supportive parents, and your after marriage, your in-laws support. That is very, very important. And my daughter, uh, I got huge support from her, because I started performing when she was 6 months old. So I left her with my mother-in-law, or with her nanny, or with my husband. So she never complained. I left her for 1 month, 2 months, like when I used to have tours. So she never complained, and till today she has no complaints. That I did a lot of tours, leaving her here. So that kind of support I got from everybody.
And that makes you feel very comfortable that you are able to do things in a very systematic way, in a flow. You don't have to, and you are convinced that yeah, the family is taken care of back home.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The next question I have for you, teacher, is what is globalization of Mohiniyattam to you, and how do you think practitioners can globalize Mohiniyattam?
The definition of globalization has changed than what it was in maybe say 20 years back. Uh, when the process of globalization started, like for Indian classical dance forms, uh, I think that time Bharatanatyam got the maximum attention, because mostly Bharatanatyam dancers were invited abroad to perform. Maybe people like the fast movements, or Bharatanatyam has got a very multi-dimensional approach. Mohiniyattam was not that developed at that time that much. Now Mohiniyattam has developed so much, but I'm saying long back when Bharatanatyam got attention globally at that time, many Bharatanatyam dancers were invited abroad, and they performed globally. They could motivate the local dancers. The local dancers started practicing Bharatanatyam. They set up their own institution. They started teaching. It became globally popular. Indian classical dance form is Bharatanatyam. Slowly, Kathak, Odissi, Kuchipudi, these three dance forms also got attention globally. Mohiniyattam, being a slow-paced dance form, unless you understand the depth of Mohiniyattam, it is very difficult to appreciate, or to get interest in that. Now, I'm saying long back. Now, Mohiniyattam has grown so much of work has been done by our great gurus, then their disciples, then our generation, all the dancers of our generation has put so much of effort and contribution for the enrichment of Mohiniyattam. And even the younger generation, they are also doing wonderful work. So I think Mohiniyattam should get now global attention, and for that we all have been working. I Now Mohiniyattam dancers are invited in almost all the major dance festivals in abroad. I personally recently did, during this pandemic, uh, more and more Mohiniyattam dancers are performing, doing webinar, doing this kind of, see, you are doing such a beautiful, wonderful series, talk series by dancers of our generation. The depth of Mohiniyattam or the knowledge is reaching to a lot many people, which people did not know about Mohiniyattam so much. So the process is going on, and I'm sure that Mohiniyattam will reach to that, will definitely get that kind of attention which Bharatanatyam, Kathak, and Odissi already got. That is, it is true that Mohiniyattam is not that popular globally, but slowly the process. Now, recently, I have done, during this pandemic period, I have done a workshop with the students of US and India, and I conducted the whole thing from my home, and it was, I conducted, it was organized by our organization in US. Okay, Tatumasi. So, and you were also a part of it. And see, now the way it is, so I could communicate, I could teach the students in US and India from my home. And if other dancers, Mohiniyattam dancers, also take this kind of efforts and initiative to reach out to lot more people, then I think Mohiniyattam will definitely get the global attention, which it hasn't yet got.
True, indeed. Internet is a great tool. The online portal is
Yeah,
a great tool.
online.
It is a great tool in connecting people all over the world, and that's
Yeah,
truly globalization.
yeah. Internet plays a major role because a lot of dancers are now doing online performances, giving online talks and all. So it is reaching to a lot many people, lot many people. So I think yes, it is. Internet is a boon for Indian classical, I mean, for Mohiniyattam especially.
Thank you, teacher. Recently, your daughter, we all fondly call her Charu. She's Priyamvada Krishnan, your one and only daughter. She bagged the state award, Kerala State Award for her first movie, Thought of It. How do you feel about this, Gigi?
I cannot express in words how happy and proud I am for this achievement. It is huge because uh, with her first movie, achieving such a great, important honor from state government for her very first movie, it's a big thing. Uh, like she's passionate from her childhood. I could see her passion for acting, and I could feel that she is talented, but she proved her talent in her first movie itself. So she learned, she is a good dancer also, but the kind of passion I had for dance, I can see that kind of fire and passion she has got for acting, and she has got the talent also. So, like, my parents supported me and allowed me to chase my dreams. I, as parents, myself and my husband, we it's our responsibility to support her, to give her all kind of support to fulfill her dreams as an actress. and she wants to take dance and acting simultaneously, which goes hand in hand. And I'm very, very proud for her this achievement.
Hearty congratulations to Priyamvada, and we wish her all the very best for all her future projects.
Thank you, Rubina. Thank you so much.
Pallavi teacher, you have been guiding me, mentoring me, teaching me Mohiniyattam for several years now. Thank you so much for being a part of Vedi. I cannot explain how happy as a student I am sitting here before you, able to connect with you and bring you on to Vedi and show to the audiences the depth of Mohiniyattam, the kind of dedication, the passion, and the commitment you have shown for so many decades. It's going to be your third decade in Mohiniyattam. Thank you, teacher. Thank you so much for being there, and thank you for being a part of Vedi.
Thank you, Rubina. I have got huge expectation from you, and keep it up with this kind of with this dedication and commitment. Thank you.
Thank you. Namaskaram, teacher.